I don't think so. We need 9 justices. You need that. With the unsolicited millions of ballots that they're sending, it's a scam. It's a hoax. Everybody knows that. And the Democrats know it better than anybody else. So you're going to need 9 justices up there. I think it's going to be very important because what they're doing is a hoax with the ballots. They're sending out tens of millions of ballots, unsolicited, not where they're being asked, but unsolicited. And that's a hoax. And you're going to need to have 9 justices. So doing it before the election would be a very good thing because you're going to probably see it because what they're doing is trying to sow confusion and everything else. And, you know, when they talk about Russia, China, and all these others, they will be able to do something here because paper ballots are very simple. Whether they counterfeit them, forge them, do whatever you want.
And that is why Trump wants the Supreme Court seat filled immediately, because he's counting on the Supreme Court to back him when he inevitably claims that the results of the election are rigged or fraudulent because of mail-in ballots. Everything Donald Trump does, literally everything, is in service of his ultimate goal of keeping himself in power. Trump's hope is that he'll be able to cry foul and claim that fraud occurred, and he'll have his lawyers litigate in the courts where he'll lose, and then they'll keep appealing until they reach the Supreme Court, which will have a 6-3 conservative majority. He's not interested in who the American people actually cast their ballots for, he's interested in subverting the democratic process and instead having his political appointees decide who becomes the president. It is the literal antithesis of a democracy. Luckily, these issues are being litigated in courts now, and Democrats are overwhelmingly notching wins with regard to voting rights. A number of states are allowing ballots to be counted up to several days after Election Day, so long as they're postmarked by November 3rd. Some are sending ballot applications to all voters. Some are sending ballots themselves to all voters. Some offer prepaid postage. The point is that Democrats are working to ensure that more Americans can vote, whereas Republicans' entire MO is to suppress the vote for as many people as possible. The answer then is to vote in such numbers that any litigation is moot. Donald Trump needs to be voted out by margins that are uncontestable, margins that leave zero doubt where the voters stand. So our job is this. First, make sure that you have a plan to vote, either in person or by mail or by Dropbox or bringing your ballot to the election office. If you're voting by mail, follow the directions completely to make sure that your ballot counts. Already in Pennsylvania, we're seeing a greater than 5% rejection rate because voters aren't putting their completed ballots first into secrecy envelopes and then into the outer declaration envelopes.
All ballots in all counties have 3 key components: the ballot itself, a nondescript secrecy envelope that says official election ballot on it, and the outer envelope that you'll sign and date and send. If your ballot is not inside the secrecy envelope, otherwise called a naked ballot, it can't be counted.
In June, we did count the naked ballots. For the general election, after the state Supreme Court ruling, we are not able to count the naked ballots.
Melanie Ostrander is Washington County's Director of Elections. In the June primary, nearly 5% of Washington County's ballots didn't have a secrecy envelope.
I think voters will be more aware this election and more cautious to make sure they've done it correctly.
Statewide, experts worry that could mean around 100,000 uncounted ballots this November. President Trump won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes in 2016.
If you have friends in Pennsylvania or live in Pennsylvania yourself, education is the most important tool right now. After that, work on your friends, your family, neighbors, coworkers, find people who haven't voted before and bring them into the political process. You don't have to watch the news every day to still be impacted by what happens in Washington, and especially at the prospect of what another 4 years of a Trump presidency would do to the United States. Another Trump term with a 6-3 Supreme Court would mean the end of the ACA. It would mean the end to a woman's right to a safe abortion. It would mean the end to climate change legislation and voting rights. It would mean entrenched Republican rule in the country for the foreseeable future. We have the tools to stop that, but it's not up to congressional Democrats or election lawyers or Joe Biden, it's up to us. We have to turn out so that the results are irrefutable. The fact is that we're gonna look back to this moment right now and wonder if we did everything we possibly could to save this country. So make sure the answer to that question is yes. While you're here, please subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deeper dive into the week's biggest stories and interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, Nancy Pelosi, Cory Booker, Eric Swalwell, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.